Oh, nerds. What are we all doing? I'm back. My internet works properly this time. So, let's have a look at the Game Awards, shall we? So yeah, I will be playing Tony Hawk's in a second. Let's see if I can get this thing to work. There we go. We'll leave Tony Hawk playing in the background so you can all hear it. But yeah, Game Awards are coming up. And there's like really controversial stuff for it this time, so I wanted to have a look. So I should already be signed in. I am. So yeah, this is the one that everybody's been shouting about because we've got DLC for the actual Game of the Year for the first time. Which we've not had before. Like, it's been... I did have a look. I didn't know whether it had been something new they'd done, because I saw they did a post on X. Hi Ted. Yeah, Ted doesn't like it. But yeah, I had a look and they'd posted on X and they posted it somewhere else. And DLC's been eligible before. This is just the first time that it's come up. But yeah, we've got Astrobot, which is an amazing game. It is basically a tech demo for the PS5. Shows off all the fancy stuff you can do with the controller and feedback and everything like that. But it's also just a fun game. It's a great platformer. Balatro, which is just poker, but it lets you cheat a lot to do crazy big wins. It has a fair bit of depth to it. And it's pretty impressive that a game made by one guy is up for Game of the Year. Like, it's literally just one dude made that on his own. We've got Black Myth Wukong, which is... It's a decent game, but honestly, compared to the other stuff on here, it's not that great. Like, it got a lot of attention because it's China's first AAA game, and it is very pretty. But like gameplay wise and everything like that, it's nothing special compared to the other stuff that's on here. Got Shadow of the Erd Tree, which I really like. But yeah, it's DLC. It is as big as some of the games that are on here, but it is just more Elden Ring. I did really like the bosses and stuff in it though. It's one of my favourite DLCs, bar Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2, Frozen LA and Lois will always have a special place for me. My favourite boss fight, right at the end of it as well. So we've got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is not technically a remake, it's technically a new game, kind of following the same story. It has some very, very cool gameplay. It's like an upgraded version of the action system. So they have like a more live combat system. I think it was in 15? Was it 14 or 15 they started doing the live action stuff with Noctis and all the rest of the boys. And this just feels like a really refined version of it. It's a lot of fun to play with. A lot of messing around you can do with the different materia around comboing stuff. Like, I was just making stupid strong builds by the end of that game. End boss, again, wasn't that tough. I think it might just be because I've played a bunch of games with build crafting and stuff, so I'm used to spotting like combos that go silly. And I got to the final boss of that game and it wasn't difficult at all. But it was fun. And they included all the mini games and everything, which was great. Going around the casino. I got Metaphor Refantasia, which is a very, very cool game. Like, it's... If you've ever played Persona, it is probably closest to the Persona games. The only thing I don't like is all the enemies are basically ripped off. There is an artist whose name escapes me at the moment, but all the enemies in the game are based on his art. Well, not even based on his artwork, they are his artwork. So for me, this one is actually going to Astrobot, because Astrobot is just so cool, it does so much cool stuff. Like, it makes full use of like every part of the PlayStation controller. I mean, every part of it. And it goes from being baby kid easy to like, I'd say like Hollow Knight or like Celeste levels of crazy platforming. So Astrobot is getting my vote. Next category. Best game direction. Creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. So for this one, I am going to give it to Balatro, because he basically took poker and made a new game out of it. And like, there's nothing in that game that I've seen. Well, I've seen similar things elsewhere, but all of the effects, all the game mechanics, everything gets like that he's done. This is one guy who made the entire game, by the way. It's one dude. It's crazy what he's managed to do himself and how popular he's made it, how addictive he's managed to make it as well. No worries, Ted. I look forward to hearing more about your adventures. So yeah, game direction gets Balatro for me. We got best narrative, so best story basically. So we got Rebirth, which I really like. It is a retelling of the Final Fantasy VII story, but bits are different. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's a Final Fantasy fan and not played it yet, but it's the best way I can describe it. We've got Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which is, yeah, part of the Yakuza series, and they're always great storytelling games. Like, I'm replaying my way through Yakuza 0 at the moment. I've seen people reviewing it, like actual members of the Yakuza, saying although parts of it aren't really that accurate, like the overall feel of being a member of the Yakuza and the attitudes and stuff is pretty accurate. Metaphor, I wouldn't say it. There's very many similar games, and honestly, Persona does it better. So Senua's Saga's Hellblade 2, I have played that. It is an amazing game. If you liked the first one, you will like this one. It still does a lot of the environmental stuff. It is still one of those games where you do want to be wearing earphones or earbuds while playing it. Don't have it go through speakers or anything, because it does spoil the effect a bit. And we have Silent Hill 2, which is Silent Hill 2. And yeah, they've not actually changed pretty much anything in this remake. Like, I've watched a few other people play it. I've not played it myself, but honestly, it is the same story as the original Silent Hill 2. And I'm gonna actually give this one for... yeah, I'm gonna give this one to Senua's Saga. Just because it took what they did in Hellblade 1 and did it much better. There wasn't as much fuss made about this game because it is much the same concepts, but they've improved on them massively. And if you do get a chance to play this game, I recommend it. Best art direction. It's Astrobot, Black Myth, Metaphor, Elden Ring, Neighbour. So, creative and technical achievement in artistic design and animation. I am actually going to give this one to Black Myth, because that game is amazingly pretty. and it represents stuff from the Journey to the West story in brilliant ways. Like, I was a big fan of there was a TV show literally just called Monkey back when I was well, it's older than me, but we got reruns of it on UK TV, and it was one of my favourite shows. And there's so much that I remember from that show that shows up in this game, and stuff that I've read from the book, which the Monkey King isn't that massive part of, even though the game focuses on the Monkey King stuff. And the Monkey King isn't a massive part of Journey to the West, he's not that big a part in it. But he does represent stuff really well, so I am going to give it to Black Myth Wukong. We have score and music. I know immediately who's going to win this one. Astrobot's music is very cheerful, very simple though. Like, it is, I hate to say it, but it's menu music expanded. So like menu music from pretty much any cheesy platformer game, but made better. But Final Fantasy always has great soundtracks, and they just knocked it out of the park with Rebirth. Like remixed versions of songs off the original soundtrack, like new themes made for characters, everything like that. It's amazing. Metro Fantasio does have good music, but again, it is more, you can tell they've tried to go the same way as Persona, and again, it just doesn't hit the mark like Persona does. Silent Hill 2 has okay music. I didn't much like the music in the original Silent Hill games. And Stellar Blade has the most generic nu metal soundtrack I have ever heard. So, Rebirth gets it for me. Audio design. Right. I will be voting for Hellblade 2 for this as well. Because the entire game revolves around in-game audio and sound design. Like, the rest of these have cool effects and everything like that. There's parts of the game that are related to it, so like you've got your radio in Silent Hill that throws static when enemies are near. You have sound cues and stuff in Final Fantasy. Black Ops, of course, you always have the footsteps and everything like that when you're playing in multiplayer. You have different kinds of Doppler radar and that. Astrobot has cool effects and stuff, but Senua's Saga revolves around its sound design. That's the key element of its gameplay, and it does it so well. Again, if you get the chance to play that game, play it. Or do it just wearing earphones or something. Right, best performance. Individual for voice acting, motion and a performance capture. So we've got Brianna White, Final Fantasy, Hannah Tell for Life is Strange, Billy Gonzalez for Outlaws, Luke Roberts for Silent Hill 2, and Melina Jurgens for Hellblade 2. So this one, I am going to give to Luke Roberts for Silent Hill 2, because they redid all the lines, and he was really good in it. Like he said, he does sound slightly different to how he did in the other characters in the original game, but I reckon it's better. Innovation in accessibility. Pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology and content help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. So this is features for disability, that kind of thing, like subtitles, colorblind modes, like movement features and everything. And crazily, Black Ops is really good at this because they just want everybody to play. So there's so many different things you can do, like with colour blindness, with different visual and audio settings, different controllers, everything like that that are compatible with it, just to allow anybody to play the game. Game soundtrack for a thought-provoking game with true social meaning or message. I'll be honest, I know nothing about any of these other than Life is Strange and Senua's Saga. And and even then Life is Strange I've only heard of. So, Senua's Saga. Best ongoing game for outstanding development, ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Helldivers 2, even though I know it'll be really popular, I'm not going to vote for because that game went to shit very quickly and it took them a very long time to recover. I don't think you should get best ongoing for that. Fortnite, always ongoing. They're always developing new things for the new seasons. They get shit ton of content. Final Fantasy 14. Like, those devs love their players, they do everything for them. I very rarely hear anybody complain about that game, and even when they do, it tends not to be about the gameplay itself. Or like stuff the devs are doing, it tends to be about all their players, to be honest. Diablo 4, again, like, had a really shitty development cycle, like, had crap on the release, has problems with development still. I don't think they should be rewarded for that. Destiny 2, as biased as I am, as much as I love that game and all the good changes they've made, they've also fucked things up a few times. Well, not a few times, a couple of times. And studio has cut a lot of the people who were doing a lot of good work for the game. So as much as I would love to, I'm not going to vote for Destiny 2. But I still love playing the game, I'll still continue playing it. But a lot of the people that made it amazing aren't there anymore. There's still people there who do amazing work, but a lot of the ones that we loved are gone. So yeah, I'm going to vote for Final Fantasy 14 because I have played the game, I know how much the devs love it, how much the players love the devs, and they just do everything for them. Best community support. Transparent and responsiveness, including social media activity and game updates patches. I'm going to give this to No Man's Sky. Like, Baldur's Gate 3, they do updates, patches, but they don't communicate that well. Like, they do communicate a lot, but not as much as, say, Final Fantasy 14 devs or No Man's Sky devs do. Final Fantasy 14, like I said, they love those devs love their players. They communicate a lot, they have like dev streams and all sorts. Fortnite, I don't think there's that much, to be honest. Like, people like the game, and there is like people suggestions and stuff, but I never actually see any of it happen. Helldivers 2, as I said, has been a shit show for a long time, and No Man's Sky has, considering how bad a release it had, has just gone from strength to strength and gets better all the time. Like, they even had a really cool Halloween event this year. So they had a massive content patch as well. So I'll give that to No Man's Sky. We get best indie game. So the only one of these I don't know is Neighbour. So Animal Well is really cool. All of you Metroidvania fans, all of you Brain Work Hollow Knight fans will probably like Animal Well. It's a much more simplistic art style, but all of the gameplay mechanics are there. Balatro I talked a lot about earlier. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is a really cool game. Has a very odd but like intriguing story to it. Well worth playing if you get the chance. UFO 50 is quite cool, quite popular, and a very clean, like fun, cartoony style action game. But yeah, I'm gonna give this to Balatro. Like, crazy good game, crazy in-depth mechanics, all made by a single person. Best debut indie game, I mean, it's gonna be Balatro. Like, Animal Well, really cool. Mana Lords is, if you've played Mountain Blade, it is similar. Pacific Drive is great. It's like I don't want to say Stalker because there are differences, but it's got that same sort of feel to it. Specific drives all about, well, due to the name, about driving, like getting into an area, getting out again. Plucky Squire is like a cute little adventure game, but yeah, I'm gonna give it to Blatro just because of all the cool stuff that one dude on his own has gone. Mobile game, I don't really play mobile games, so I am gonna skip this one. But I know TCG Pocket's popular, I know Blatro's popular, I know that's popular. I know the Wuthering Waves is popular because people love falling for gacha games. Same for Zenless Zone Zero. But I don't really play them, I don't pay that much attention to them, so I'm going to skip it. Best VR AR. Again, this is going to be a skip. Like, I know, like Metro Awakening, Hellsinger, Arkham Shadow are all three of those are quite popular. Arizona Sunshine, I know that's pretty popular. I don't know anything about Asgard's Wrath, so I'm skipping this one. Best action game. So we got Black Myth Wukong again, Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, and Space Marine. I am going to go completely with my bias on this one, but I also love the gameplay of it. I'm going to go with Space Marine, just because the gameplay for it is so smooth. Like, if you get the chance to play that game, play it, grab some mates, do the multiplayer on it. You can do the entire story with mates as well. It is so much fun. Action adventure game, we've got Astrobot, Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 isn't an action adventure game, it's a horror game. Star Wars Outlaws, and Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I'm going to give this to Astrobot, just because of all the cool stuff it does. Like, it is the best like platforming action adventure game I've seen for a very long time. Best RPG, Dragon's Dogma 2, nah. Shadow of the Erdtree, Rebirth, yeah. Infinite Wealth, like a dragon, Metaphor Refantasia. I've talked about all of these, apart from Dragon's Dogma 2, which, to be honest, is not that different from Dragon's Dogma 1. So I'm going to vote for Rebirth on this one, because it is the one I had the most fun playing by far. Best fighting game! Games that I am not very good at, but I know a decent amount about. So we've got Sparking Zero, which people love, even though it's unbalanced as fuck. We've got Grand Blue Fantasy, which is every weeb's favourite fighting game. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, because everybody's wanted a new Marvel vs. Capcom game for ages. Multiversus, which is slowly falling on its arse. And Tekken 8, which is just... well, I say just, it's the newest one in the Tekken series. And they've done a fair few updates to it. But I am going to give this to Marvel vs. Capcom Collection, because those games are so good and they're so much fun. Being able to double team people like Captain America and Cyclops and teaming up with like Wolverine and stuff is great. Best family game, Astrobot, Princess Peach Showtime, Mario Party Jamboree, Echoes of Wisdom, and the Plucky Squire. So appropriate for family play. I'm not going to vote Astrobot for this one because I know parts of that game are stupid difficult. I don't think anybody should, like, a game that difficult should get it. I'm going to go for the Mario Party game because I know that game's loads of fun. I've seen loads of people playing it. Sim Strategy. I do have a bias for this one. So we got Age of Mythology Retold, which is the remake of Age of Mythology. The one Age of game that everybody forgets about because it's not Empires. But it's still a brilliant game. We've got Frostpunk 2, where you can just destroy your own city because everybody freezes to death or burns to death in this one. Kunitsugami, which was really cool, but went under the radar a fair bit. And it's basically a tower defense game, where you get a hero unit. Mana Lords, which, like I said before, it is similar to Mountain Blade. And Unicorn Overload is the other one that I don't know. But I'm going to go with my bias on this one and go for Age of Mythology because it's an Age of game. And they're all really good. In Mythology you get like You get mythical units, you get like centaurs and shit like that, and I love it. Sports/racing game, I'm going to skip because I don't really play any of these. Not paid attention to them forever. Best multiplayer is going to go to Helldaggers this time, because even though they've done some shit on the development cycle and messed a load of stuff up, it's still loads of fun to play together with mates. Best adaptation. Adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. So, Tomb Raider 1 isn't good. I've seen that. Like a Dragon Yakuza is decent, but I think a lot of it is missing from the show. It's one of those things where the show, it's going to be like the One Piece live action, I reckon, where if you don't know much about the series already, this is a good introduction to it. But if you're a fan of the series, there's too much missing from it for it to be good. We've got Knuckles, which was the short-lived series. It was alright, but Knuckles just wasn't that interesting a character in it. It was propped up by side characters. My Sun Milk. I am just going through Game Awards nominations. Ted Farrow is the bad guy in the Horizon games. The guy who ruined the Earth. So for these, it's a toss-up between these two. Because Arcane is really, really, really good. Stands out really, really well on its own. Is beautiful as a show. Even though I am never, ever going to play League of Legends again. And then we've got a Fallout, which is like really, really enjoyable to watch, and is such an accurate representation of the universe. I'm going to have to give it to Fallout. Just because of how accurate Fallout is to the universe. Most anticipated. Just tossed a 1070 Ti into my frame. Wouldn't call it a case. Why is it still missing half the sides and everything? Or you get one of those fancy what was it called that you mentioned before? Oh, what was the case called now? Is it a fractal case? 100 grams of steel frame with some panels left over. Yeah, I really like the fractal cases. I would have got one for my current PC if there was one available at the time. Yeah, I'm looking at these most anticipated games and it's literally just whichever one you're most excited for. And for me it's Monster Hunter Wilds, because I love those games. I have played those games for like hundreds of hours. Like, I started playing Monster Hunter World and went back and played the older ones. And then when Rise came out, that was like the mobile, well not the mobile, like the handheld version, because that's how they do the series. They do a console and then a handheld, console and a handheld. And Wilds is the next one, which is going to be the console one, which means it has a little cool crossplay and everything like that. 8-pin power cable, so I had to go dig through computers for a transplant PSU. Oh. The worst part of building a PC is getting all the parts to match. This one, I don't know who any of these are apart from Queso. And Queso I only know because of like random reels and shit that pop up. So skip. Best esports game. I've watched very little esports, so I'm going to skip this as well. Best esports athlete, same. Esports team, same. There we go. Right, I'm going to get notified when the player voice stuff comes in. But yeah, that's my nominations for stuff. I skipped the esports things because I used to occasionally watch Counter-Strike and stuff like that, but now I don't anymore, so I don't bother. So yeah, that's all my nominations done. I've only skipped 7 of them. And now we're going to play some Tony Hawk. But first, I am just going to nip to the loo before we start. So, I shall BRB.